Thus says the Lord of hosts, of the columns, of the sea, of the bases, and of the utensils that remained in the city. This passage, rich in metaphors, leads us to reflect on reconstruction, starting over, and resilience in the face of loss. The columns, the sea, and the bases are symbols of strength and structure. Even when everything seems to fall apart around us, God reminds us that something always remains, something remains standing. And what remains is not insignificant. On the contrary, it is with what is left that God brings about great transformations. In our lives, we face moments when everything seems to fall apart. The columns that supported our dreams fall, the sea of uncertainty seems to want to drown us, and the foundations in which we trusted seem to shake. However, it is exactly in these moments of apparent loss that a great opportunity arises. The Lord reminds us that there are utensils that still remain in the city. These utensils are our talents, our faith, our courage, the hope that still pulses, even if weakened. They are the tools through which God enables us to rebuild what we thought we had lost. When we feel empty, broken, or directionless, it's important to remember that there is always a remnant. God doesn't need much to make the impossible happen. The pillars may be broken, but He restores them. The sea may be turbulent, but He calms it. The foundations may be shaken, but He strengthens them. What's left of you, even if it seems small or insignificant, is enough for God to perform a miracle. He rebuilds lives, dreams, and destinies from what's left. And what's most incredible, He does this perfectly. So don't be discouraged if you look around and see only ruins. Where many see destruction, God sees potential. Where others see the end, God sees a new beginning. What's left in your life, whether it's a talent, a skill, or even a small spark of faith, is enough for God to transform your story. Rise up, for the Lord of hosts is at your side. What's left will be restored and become the foundation of something even bigger and stronger than before. Trust the process and hold on to your hope. Even when everything seems to have been swept away by the storms of life, it is in what remains that God finds the opportunity to act. If there's only rubble left, don't ignore it. Remember that the biggest rebuilds start with small parts. Just as the Lord of hosts mentioned the columns, the sea, and the foundations, He knew that what was left was essential for a new beginning, for a work even greater than the previous one. Sometimes starting over feels scary. We may feel without strength, without energy, without direction. But remember, God doesn't need a perfect foundation or impeccable columns to start working in your life. He turns the little into much, the broken into something new and strong. If you still have a shred of faith, a spark of hope, that is more than enough for Him to work the extraordinary. Often, it is in the midst of ruins that we learn the most valuable lessons. We learn to depend more on God, to see what really matters, and to value what we still have. Perhaps your pillars, your foundations of support, have been shaken, but what remains has a deep and powerful purpose. Don't underestimate what God can do with what's left. The sea may seem rough now, but even the sea obeys the voice of the Creator. He calms the storms and guides your boat into calm waters. Look ahead with courage. The Lord of hosts never failed to fulfill His promises. The difficulties you face now are not the end of your journey, but the beginning of something great to come. Just as He mentioned the utensils left in the city, He also sees what is left in your life. These tools are your gifts, your skills, your inner strength. All those things that, despite the battles, remain intact, waiting to be used in new ways. Believe me, it's not the end. The Lord is working silently, behind the scenes, to restore what was lost and rebuild what seemed irreparable. Every detail of your life, every part that remains, has value and purpose in the eyes of God. Your story is not over yet, and what lies ahead will be better than you ever imagined. Hold on tight, for the same God who promised restoration to those in the city is promising you a new phase, a new beginning, filled with purpose and blessings. Therefore, it rises from the ruins. What remains is enough for God to carry out His great work in your life. Don't look at what you've lost, but at what you still have. God will use what is left to elevate you, strengthen you, and lead you to a future of victories.